The wedding at Cana is an important event in the life of Christ's public ministry. One of the really important aspects of this event is that it's Christ's first major public sign or miracle. And one of the intriguing aspects of the story for me is the notion that at this wedding are Mary, his mother, and his disciples. And so at this point, it's already obvious that his disciples have committed themselves to following Jesus. But something we see later in the story, after the miracle is performed, the water being turned into wine, is that it says, and the disciples began to believe in him. And so this might suggest that the disciples were already faithfully following Jesus, but they still didn't quite understand who he was or fully believe in who he was. And I think that can be relevant for us. I think we might find ourselves coming to Mass every week, or maybe involved in a faith group or other aspects of our faith, but maybe feeling really lukewarm about it. We just find ourselves just following and not really feeling that Christ has like fully revealed himself to us. And so I think that might be something really beautiful that we can maybe pull from the gospel story this week, is that, you know, there is value in just continuing to follow Christ and opening our hearts and maybe inviting Christ to reveal himself more fully to us. That way, if we maybe feel as if we're just treading water and kind of following along, that's good, because it does give Christ a place and a point to open himself to us and to invite himself more fully into our lives. So it might be our invitation this week is to, if we are just kind of like the disciples in the beginning of the story, just following Christ, but not yet beginning to fully believe in him, asking Christ to manifest himself to you, to more fully reveal himself to you, that you might, like the disciples in the end of the story, have seen Christ for who he is, not only the humanness of Christ, but the full divinity of Christ, and seeing that you might more fully to believe. And once again, like it says, they began to believe in him. Like they still didn't quite get it, but they began to see more fully who he was. And even for them, it was a process and a growth that never really ends. And I think even in the story itself too, when it speaks of the wine, it speaks of Christ gave the good wine last. And I think that's one of the aspects for me that I think may have been a point of intrigue for the disciples as well, is that this Christ, when we follow him and when we believe in him, the best is yet to come. We've not yet fully received the fullness and the goodness of who Christ is and what this life has for us, not only here, but in the world to come. Thank you.